this time because you don't have as many seconds. I don't know why the music is there. I tried to put it there. It didn't work.
And welcome to Impact 2025, our continuing conversation that we have about all types of topics, current events, everything that you may want to talk about. This is our first installment of Impact 2025. So thank you for joining. I'm going to remind you or inform you of how this works. You have an opportunity to join in on the conversation. You can type your questions, you can type your comments into the comment section. So if you're on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you may be, please feel free to type your comments and questions into the comment section. If you are viewing this live, then we will bring up your comments. We will bring up your questions. We will put them up on the screen. We will address them. Be a part of the conversation. This is not a one-way thing. This is a group discussion. We do not have a guest today. So when we don't have a guest, we definitely want you to have the opportunity to say the things, type the things that you want to say. If I sound crazy, say I sound crazy. If I sound great, say that I sound great. If you have something to say, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to say something, put it into the comment section. Put it into, as they say, the chat, or whatever they want to call it. This is your opportunity to be a part and to talk. Why are we here? It's one of the things that I'd like to remind every once in a while. This is the beginning of a new calendar year. I'll just go ahead and do it now. We're here because we need to talk. We need to have conversation. We need to talk about the different issues and different topics. We need to be able to discuss and wrestle with some things. Why? Because I need to know what to do. And also you need to know what to do. And sometimes we have these ideas and these thoughts in our heads, but we actually need to get them out of our mouths and let others listen to them. And we listen to others. And we can come to some conclusions and some understandings about what we believe, what we think, how we should approach others, and how we can also help others, or different things that we need to be able to do in the community. It is very, very important in this time, in this day and age, in 2025, when we have people who don't communicate that often, when we have people who only communicate through text or online, or they barely know how to communicate face-to-face, or just use words. They communicate through emojis and communicate through short text characters, LOL and FYI, and I don't know a whole bunch of them, but all the other ones. We need to be able to have real dialogue. And so this is that opportunity. This is a reminder that we need to flex those muscles. We need to be able to use our words, as I say to my kids all the time. We need to be able to use our words to communicate with one another. One of the biggest problems, I think, in our community, whether you're talking about the Black community, whether you're talking about the Christian community, whether you're just talking about the community of people just talking to one another, I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that we don't communicate enough who we are, and other people are able to fill in the gaps of the narrative. And so in order to really let people understand who you are, where you're coming from, in order for people to understand what's going on, we need to practice communicating, and we need to continue to communicate. There is a communication void, and somebody's going to fill it. So it's either going to be filled with the truth, or it's going to be filled with falsehoods or craziness or whatever. But if we don't talk, and if we don't fill that void with the truth, then others will fill it. Others will fill it all up. All right. And I think that's one of the problems that we have going on right now. One of the reasons that they don't want to fill little kids' heads up with real history is because people want to be able to fill their heads up with the junk that they have. And so we need to start filling our heads up and filling the void out here with the truth. And the only way we're going to do that is through communication and talk. All right. So that's just, that's something we're talking about today. That was just a brief intro of why we're here. Why do we do this? Why is there Impact 2025? And so, again, as it says on the screen, I'd like to remind you to type your comments in there. Before we go any further, I know that's a big intro. This is Imani Christian Ministries. This is a ministry of Imani Christian Ministries. So Impact 2025 is one of the ministries. There are also other ministries and offerings that go on. We have Bible study. That's on Thursdays, 7 o'clock. Facebook, YouTube, please If you want to get a greater understanding of the word, if you want to delve into the word, if you are one of those people who, we have the emotional side, but we also want to have the intellectual side, please join us for Thursday Thirst. That's really diving into the Bible and understanding what we need to do on a daily basis. On Sunday, we have worship service. That you can join us at 10 o'clock, Facebook, YouTube, and also all of our offerings. You really can come in person, especially service. You can come in person if you're if you're local. If you are far away and you want to, travel, that's what's up too. But there's an opportunity to have worship service at 10 o'clock. Please feel free to join us, Facebook, YouTube, or in person. And then on Tuesdays, today, at 7, what we have is prayer. And that is a time of prayer that everybody in this ministry or any connected to this ministry or just anybody who wants to pray at 7 o'clock Eastern time, we all pray together. Not together where we're calling each other on the phone, but you can do that. But this is a time where everybody is praying at the same time so that we can pray together. And you don't have to pray for the whole time. You can pray from 7 to 7:05. You can pray from 7 to 7:01. You pray from 7 to 7:45, the whole entire 45 minutes. Your choice. But this is a time where we all are praying. And then, of course, we have Impact 2025. All right, great. Let's hop into what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today works in with a lot of what's going on current event wise. If you're looking around, there's a lot of different events that are occurring throughout the world, but we're going to stay a little bit more local. And when I say local, we're just going to talk to the United States. And right now we're post-election. So 2025 is post the presidential election. Now we're going to have a inauguration and we're going to have a new president. As a result, there's some people who are, hey, yay, this is great. And there's some people who are like, oh, this is terrible. But one of the things that people have been talking about is how we communicate with one another, whether you like the president or dislike the president, whether you like the current administration or you dislike the current administration, the future administration, whatever. We're talking about how we speak to one another. We're talking about civility. They were talking, you hear it all the time now, where people are saying we need to be more civil so that we can communicate and have communications with one another. And now, I'll tell you, for one group, it's pretty easy. And it's ironic. I keep things plain here, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But the group of people, Trump supporters, Republicans, conservatives, whatever you want to call the group of people, there was a group of people who were out here spewing a bunch of harsh rhetoric, racist things, sexist things, bigoted things, just a lot of nasty things, lies, just a lot of mean words. But then they won. They got their candidate into office. And so now it's easy for them who are doing a lot of things to then switch the game up and be like, well, now let's be civil. Because once you win, or you feel like you've won, it's easy for you to be civil. And then on the opposite side, you have some people who are disappointed, who may or may not have been similar with the words in their tongue as far as being harsh about what they said. But it's a little harder sometimes for them to be civil when you feel like you lost because you're angry, you're mad. So when you're coming from that strong point of, ooh, I'm happy because I got the victory, it's easy to be civil. The others not so much. But what everybody pretty much has been talking about is we need to be civil. We need to make sure we have civility. We need to be able to communicate together, work together, work with one another, listen to one another. We need to be able to, especially respect those who won. We have to be civil, civility. But what does that mean? What does that mean? Now, I'll tell you what some people think civility is. Some people think civility is just making sure that you are saying things nicely. Not that you're saying stuff nice, but you're saying things nicely. Great Britain is a great example. So I was doing some looking back at how the parliament takes shape over in England and how they talk. They talk with great civility, but they'll say some of the nastiest things out their mouth to one another. They'll say, the gentleman over here looks great. I wish that the words that came out of his mouth matched his appearance. But his words and his thoughts are much lesser than the great appearance that he has. Now, that sounded like it was cool, But at the end of the day, it wasn't cool. It's not civil. You're really trying to make fun or take shots at somebody. So is that civility? Some people say yes, as long as you're saying what you need to say in a nice way. And other people think, well, civility is, all right, look, I'm in charge. Y'all need to just listen to what I say. You bow down, bend the knee, do whatever. That's being civil. To the winner goes all of the goodness. Well, that's what some folk think is civil as well. I'll tell you what I think civility is. I think it's having that level of human respect for other people. If you're a Christian person, having that level of Christian love for one another. But I think civility is a little different than some folk want and think. It does not mean biting your tongue and not saying the truth. Civility is not that, and it's never been that. My son goes to a school where they have this idea and this thought process of saying there's a difference between being nice and being kind. They were saying people who are nice, you're going to be nice to somebody, you're just going to do what they want. But being kind is doing the correct thing. So if somebody is doing something bad, if you're a kind person, you're going to go ahead and, my son's in elementary school, you're going to go ahead and tell them that person. Because the kind thing to do is to care about them and make sure that they don't get hurt or get in trouble. But the nice thing to do is to just do whatever they want. Now, I don't know if I really agree with that. That's a elementary school way of thinking and thought. However, there is some truth there in the notion of there's a difference between being kind or civil just so you can pacify the other person, and there's a difference between telling the truth and just don't have it backed up with anger. And I think that's where we are. And we talked about this back, last year in the previous offer, but now we do need to be civil. We all need to be civil so we can communicate. One of the reasons, again, why we're here, 2025, Impact 2025, is so that we can be civil and have communications. But civility is not just getting along with the greater good. Civility is making sure that you keep yourself in an appropriate manner and you don't let people change who you are, but you tell the truth. And so I think for a lot of folk, the civility that has come out here is not a true one because it's changing who they are. So if I thought that something was bad before, and I'm being civil, I still talk and communicate and can address those issues and still say that they're bad. It is not, well, I thought they were bad before, but now I'm being nice, so I don't need to say anything about it. Civility is not being quiet. Civility is not being mute. Civility is not, and the ironic thing is, can't see my mouth moving that's it right now because the picture is frozen, but civility is not doing that. Civility is opening your mouth and actually saying what you need to say. So we need to be civil. And so, but we need to speak to those ills and those things that are inappropriate. We need to speak our differences. We need to be able to talk about them. We need to be able to listen to others. Now, again, like I said, I'm going to keep playing. My goal is to make sure that I communicate what needs to be communicated in a plain way. And you have the opportunity to again, put down whatever comment and question you want. So I want you to keep it plain as well. I keep playing because one of the reasons is don't really have any fear of any repercussions. So I can go ahead and, talk about these issues. But, I believe that there was a lot of bad things that has gone on with this new administration that's going to come in. I believe that it's all about greed and money. I just found a report today that, 3 of the richest men in the United States will be at the inauguration. And they're not just invited to the inauguration, they will be sitting up on the stage with some of the cabinet members. They have no qualification to be up on stage other than the fact that they're 3 of the wealthiest men in the United States. Billionaires, have some of the largest companies. Why do they deserve to be up there? if you're going to put somebody on the stage, you need to put regular people on there. That's who voted for you. That's who got you in office. If you're gonna represent everybody, you need to represent the majority, and the majority of people are not billionaires. But yet, it shows where this administration is going to be. And so I keep it plain, and I'm going to keep it simple. Make sure that we respect the office of the presidency, but at the same time, that is a sign. I believe that is a sign of the fact that this is going to be about the wealthy. This is not going to be about the common person. This is not going to be about the people who are considered poor or downtrodden, people who are considered middle class, even upper middle class. This is not for everybody. And there's a lot of billionaires here. The only 3 billionaires that have been reported so far are 3 billionaires who are white males. No diversity in thought there. So not only are you just going for people who have a lot of wealth, I don't know why they are invited there to be up on top of the stage. They're not politicians or anything, but it's only going to be white males. So you're sending a clear picture to everyone out here about who you serve, who you represent, and who you feel comfortable with. Now, does that mean I think you're a horrible person? No. Does that mean I don't think you're a horrible person? No. Does that mean I need to call you names? No. Does that mean I don't need to call you names? Yeah, it does mean I don't need to call you names. Because I'm going to keep it simple. But I'm not going to not speak to the truth of it. And the truth is, from my standpoint, the truth is what I believe. Not necessarily the truth. The truth for me, or what I believe at this moment, is that this is a sign and an example of what I always thought it was. There is greed. There is a racial bias towards certain people. There is a gender bias towards certain people, and those are going to be the only people that are really served and cared about. And if some good happens because you just happen to be, in the right place at the right time, other people may get some good. I believe that all of the racist words that were said before are still applied today. That civility did not erase all the racism that was used in that group. It did not erase all of the hate and the prejudice and all of the other things in the group. And the responsibility of civility is to be civil, but not to ever, I think, stop telling the truth. Not ever stop addressing the issues. Mr. So-and-so, I respect your office. Mr. So-and-so, I would respectfully say, you need to stop being racist. You need to stop being only for those with money and represent everybody. That's simple. As my son's principal would say, that's being kind, doing the right thing, not being nice. And so I think that's where we need to be. That civility is just being respectful of one another, but still telling the truth. It does you no good to be nice and not tell the truth. It does you no good to just put your, as they say, tuck your tail between your legs and just, walk away or sit on your hands and don't do anything. And so as we move into this new situation, I would hope that civility will mean the correct thing, or the civility will mean to most people to keep at whatever the goals you were. Just make sure that you are being nice. You make sure that your character is not being compromised because you're angry about what's going on. You keep it okay. Your anger can still be there. We just gotta keep it simple. We'll keep it truthful. We got some comments. What is interesting to me is the notion that each of us can have our own truth. Example, climate change truth is a matter of what you believe. Yeah, I think that's important. And interesting. I despise the term I'm speaking my truth. Because my truth means you're just speaking what you want to be true. You're not trying to go for the truth. You're just speaking your truth, which means what you want it to be. It's not what it is. It's just what you want it to be, and that's not fair and okay. And so, no, we need to find out the truth as much as we can. And we have different perspectives. People may look at one thing one way and look at another thing another way, but the truth, facts, those things don't change. And so we're always going to speak in our perspectives, but there is only one truth. And so, for example, climate change, you know, it is not what you believe. There is the facts, and then there's how you're going to try to manipulate those facts. The facts of what they're showing. They're showing scientific evidence of what CO2 is doing to the environment. They're showing evidence of what it's doing to the climate and how it's warming up at the caps and how that is affecting and making extreme weather. Those are facts. And so, opinion or your perspective is, oh, well, you know, CO2 is not really, we don't have enough of an impact as human beings, and so it doesn't matter what we do and what we don't do. Cows are the biggest producer of CO2, and so it's not even our fault, it's the cow's fault. Or, you know what, let's just do whatever we want to do because we got to make money. You know, whatever perspective you put on it, that's what you want to do. But the truth is what the truth is. Now, when you sit back and you say, well, nah, climate change isn't real, well, then now at this point, you're just not telling the truth at all. That's not the truth. But your perspective can be on what you think about the climate change or why you think climate change is happening. And so I think that's one of the things that we have to get to, a point of people having the understanding that just because this is what you want it to be, that doesn't make it the truth. The truth is only what we can prove. The truth is only what we have the facts, and you have your perspectives on the outside of it. Is the chemical makeup of water H2O? Is this true, or can I say it is H3O and that is true? Another good point. Shakespeare stole this line from somebody, that a rose is a rose, no matter the name. And that I paraphrased it. And so no matter if you call a rose, a rock, or you call a rose, at the end of the day, that flower, how it smells, that sweetness of the smell, it's still going to be the same thing. And so the name means nothing. That's what it's basically saying. And so when we sit back here, I think that's sometimes where we get kind of lost in the weeds, where people get all messed up. Because people want to call things and characterize things. And the reality is what it is what it is. You know, and I'm going to go right back to it because that's where I want to be. The incoming president said that Kamala Harris didn't know she was black. Originally, she wasn't black, and then all of a sudden, she became black. You know, and there's a perspective of how you say or characterize what was said. Now, I think that's racist. There's other people who say, no, it wasn't racist. He was just talking about the fact that one ministry was trying to do this and one ministry was trying to do that. And we both have, those are perspectives. My perspective is, he's racist. That was a racist comment. Everybody who is not addressing that is an enabler of racism. And then other people are saying, no, it was a commentary on what or how she was kind of rolling back in the day, and you know how different news articles kind of characterized her and everything like that. Well, the truth is that statement was made. The truth is he was talking about, as a white man, he was talking about another person, a person of color's race. Now the perspective is, was it racist or not? But it doesn't change what happened. And so when people try to sit back and say, well, it wasn't this or it wasn't that. No, the truth is what happened. Now, here's another truth. The truth is, people like me, highly offended, disgusted. Now, that's a truth because I'm highly offended and disgusted. And then the opinion part is whether or not that matters or not. And so when people sit back here and they say things, chemical makeup H2O versus H3O, it's the name, but it doesn't change what happened. I am offended as a black man who, yeah, I've said this before and I'll say it again, who married to a black woman, who has a black daughter, who has a black mother, who has black aunts, a black sister-in-law, all these women. I'm offended for myself and I'm offended for them. And so no matter what anybody says on the other side about, oh, well, this comment wasn't that or wasn't this, the truth is I'm offended by it, which makes it inappropriate. That's true. And so you can call it H2O, you can call it H3O, you can call that comment okay, or you can call it not okay. But the truth is there are people like me who got offended by it because of the racial undertones, aspects, overtones, the obvious part of it. True. Perspective, truth. You know, now if you disagree with that, feel free. But there's certain things that are facts. The words that came out of your mouth or the words that came out are facts. How you perceive them or what you want to name it, that's where it comes into play with all of this. My opinion on it. There was a white congressman who decided to quote Martin Luther King Jr., and he took what was stated out of context. 2 black congresswomen challenged him. He responded that he had the right to interpret Dr. King the way he wanted. Now, yes, I'll bring it back up so you see it. Yes, there are some issues here. Now, you do have the right and the ability to misquote people. And that's what the gentleman is saying. He has the right and to misquote Dr. King all day. And the black congresswomen have the right to challenge him. Unfortunately, everybody has the right to do what they want with their words in this country. So that's kind of unfortunate. Unfortunately, you have the right to do what you want with your words in this country. And so when you quote somebody, he has the right to quote, but then you have the right to respond with the characterization of the quote as you see fit. And so when you are misquoting someone, I am allowed to say you are misquoting someone and you are mixing up the words for your own whatever agenda, how you want to do it. And so the responsibility, I think, for everyone, because we're in a place that has rights, you have the right to say what you want to say. You also have the responsibility, and that's when it comes to that stability. And that's when it comes back full circle to that kindness. You have the responsibility to speak to it. We have gone too far and too long with letting things go, trying to be civil. Being civil, there's a responsibility to what we do. So when you hear somebody speak out of turn and out of pocket, you have a responsibility to address it. Because if you don't, as we talked about, it's a void that's being filled. And it's either going to be filled by your words and your truth, or it's going to be filled by somebody else's manipulation of truth, if you believe that you're right. So, and if they've already filled that hole, then you got to talk to get that stuff up out of there. But so everybody does have the right. But I think you have the responsibility, we have the responsibility to address it. The responsibility to address it. You can't let that stuff go. Somebody say something, you can't walk home later and be like, I should have said, or man, I can't believe he was talking like that. No, you have the responsibility to address the right thing. Ooh, another comment. He said he had the right to interpret King's words and thoughts any way he wants. He can say what he wants. Unfortunately, we can't stop him. He does. He does have the right to do that. We have the responsibility to tell him that he's wrong and the responsibility to tell everybody else why he's wrong. Like that's what it's come down to. So many people have misinterpreted the word of God. So many people have misinterpreted what it means to be a church. So many people have misinterpreted what it means to be black. We have the responsibility to set them straight. Because they don't have to stop doing what they're doing. They can talk all day. We have the responsibility to set them straight. And I in my lifetime, it has never been more important to talk the truth, speak the truth to power, as they say. It's never been more important than right now. Because right now, younger people, our kids, our children are not getting the information that they need to get. And so they're getting the wrong information, they're getting bad information, and we have the responsibility, more than we ever had, to talk as much as we can so that they can hear the truth over the lies, the truth over the noise, the truth over like what this person said, this congressman said, but the truth over your misinterpretation, your intentional misinterpretation of what Dr. King said. So we have to talk more, and we have to talk constantly to our youth. We have to get it done. It's our responsibility. Do we have the right to lie? You can yell fire in the theater unless there's a fire. Yeah, no, yes, no, and yes. If you Meta, Facebook, whatever you want to call that, used to have controls on what people said, hateful information, and they had fact checkers. Well, that's gone, because right now in this society, right now, we have decided that lying is okay. It's the truth. And that's the truth. The truth is we have decided that lying is okay. And so, do you have the right to lie? Absolutely you do. Unfortunately, that's what we decided that's going to be. And so that goes back to the responsibility that we have. Because they have the right to lie, we have the responsibility to tell the truth. Because they have the right to lie, we don't get to sit back anymore and just shake our heads. You have to open your mouth and speak up. Because we have to tell our kids, we have to tell everyone that will be in earshot, whether they want to listen or not, what the true story is. All right, we are past our time. I want to remind people about a very important event that we have this Monday, as you can see here, on January 20th at New Ridge Baptist Church. If you are in the Richmond area, if you're in Henrico, if you're in Virginia, anywhere, please bring your buddy. And so this event is very important. Most people, or not most people, many people are off of work that day. January 20th, New Ridge Baptist Church at 1 p.m. We will have a time for decision. This is a series, as you can see here. It's based on Joshua 24. It is about telling us, or about a discussion for those of us who are Christian, or say that we are Christian. And we got to choose today who we're going to serve. So who we are. That's the theme of the first one. There are additional on the 25th, and I'm drawing a blank on the other day. There will be additional offerings as well, but please make sure that if you are available and you're in town, come here. I think that we're going to have it available online. So if you come to our Facebook page or YouTube page or whatever we have, or our website, I think we'll have it available. But if you're in town, come on and make sure that you make yourself available, because this is an important conversation, speaking to what we need to be doing. All right, we're way past our time. I want to thank everybody for joining for 2025. Tell your friends, tell your family, make sure that they know that this is an opportunity to come here and express yourselves. And we need to talk through the things that are going on. Again, I don't want anybody to forget that we have our other offerings. Thursday, be here, 7 o'clock. Thursday, Sunday, 10 o'clock, worship service, and Tuesdays, 7 o'clock, we have prayer. Thank you for all the comments, everyone who's joined us. We'll be here next week. Thank you and have a good one.